Hey everybody, welcome back to Grown Folk Reactions. I am Deborah, and this video is about us, about our people. So if you have any kind of hate in your heart, this video is not for you. This is for us so that we understand who we are. I found quite a few clips, and my screen is shaking. I found quite a few clips that will give you much more insight, I think, on who we are and what we've been through. So, if you'd like to hang out with me to the end of this video, stay tuned.
Every time he sees me, I don't know what he sees.
It's because you are beautiful.
Story time. Welcome back to another episode of When the World Reminds Me That I'm Black. So I was out with a friend one day, had some time to kill, and she was like, oh, let's go get palm readings. I never did no shit like that before. Let's go try it out. We go to the little spot on Ventura, some white lady in there. She don't read my palm, okay? She's got fucking rocks laying out. And then she's like swinging this little pendulum thing. I can see that you are very in tune with your childhood. I'm like, okay, yeah, I feel that. It looks like you were probably a slave in a past life. I pretty much tuned her ass out after that. And we had another good 25 minutes left on the session. I guess my little slave brain couldn't take no more information. How the fuck you gonna say that to somebody? You was a slave in a past life. This bitch got me fucked.
I agree with your comments and your reaction. That would have been me.
The war against black genetics is a war against humanity. Melanin isn't pigment, it's the processor. It's the molecule that translates solar energy into life. Plants have it, animals have it, humans need it. Black people have the highest concentration of it, which means black people don't just live on Earth, they translate it. They are not just a race, they are the root species. Black isn't a color, it's the motherboard. Every other group, adaptations, mutations, and mistakes. This isn't supremacy. This is truth. Black people didn't come from Africa. Africa came from black people.
I don't. So, part of me wants to say or wants to ask, is he trolling? Um, yeah, because I think that the video would spark controversy, but he could be coming from a sincere place. So, I mean, it is what it is, but I feel troll going on.
The problem with Black American culture, it goes global. We're the most copied people on earth. Like even our music, like house music. When I went to Europe, they was like, oh, this is ours. That comes from the south side of Chicago. That's Black American music. What are you talking about? Everything we do goes global, so it doesn't look like we make anything. So everybody be like, you guys have no culture. Where's your culture at? Whole time they're doing that shit right in front of us. Right in front of us, they're doing what we be doing. It's the problem. Our shit go global. We just copied a lot. We're carbon copied all over the fucking globe.
He is absolutely 100% right. I don't even know how people can fix their face to say that Black people don't have a culture when we had to build our culture or rebuild our culture in the States. I'm sorry, this thing is rocking. That we had to rebuild our culture in the States, and then everybody wants to pick apart pieces that they like and claim it as their own. He's absolutely right. His video was loud as hell, though.
Si vous voulez être roi, vous devez me tuer. Qui peut être roi? Voilà. Toi, tu veux? Non? Personne? Regarde, ils ne me soutiennent plus. Quelle sorte de roi abandonne son peuple?
They are absolutely beautiful.
They called them midwives to downplay the truth. But black women were America's first doctors. Long before hospitals let us in, black women were delivering babies, curing disease, setting bones, and saving lives, with nothing but herbs, instinct, and centuries of African knowledge passed down. During slavery, these women were called granny midwives. But don't get it twisted. That title was used to strip them of the credit they deserved. They weren't assistants. They were the doctors. While white men were still experimenting on us without anesthesia, black women were healing their own communities. After slavery, women like Rebecca Lee Crumpler, the first black woman to earn an MD, and Matilda Evans, the first in South Carolina, built clinics and hospitals from scratch. But even then, society tried to erase their titles, called them nurses, midwives, helpers. Why? Because they didn't want the world to know. Black women built the foundation of American medicine. And even today, when a black woman walks into a hospital with credentials, she still gets questioned, still gets dismissed, still gets called by the wrong title. But the truth, we were never just midwives. We were surgeons, physicians, healers, and we still are. Drop comments, follow Roots Uncovered, because the erasure stops here.
And boom. So give us our credit.
To whom this may concern, we were not slaves, as our existence has not only been slaves, okay? Some people have ancestors that were enslaved, and some of us just have ancestors that were prisoners of war. If you are getting my drift, the enslavement is mental. Majority of the time, it always has been. The story that they told, it's time that we learned that most of that was a hoax. We know damn well there was not 50 left niggas standing in a damn field just watching one white man walk around and whip their ass all day long. We ain't never been them type of people. We ain't never been that fucking easy. But I will say this, gone are the days that we just sit here and allow history to be told to us and we not go search for history or learn history ourselves. We are in the days where we realize that we were royal. We are royal. The royal bloodlines that they are speaking of are us. Just like they have stolen, taken, and claimed things that are not theirs, they have claimed and stolen and taken that too. The 13 royal bloodlines that you know about are not royal bloodlines. Those are the ones that worked alongside our sellouts. I am not saying that that type of slavery did not exist. What I'm saying is they lied to you about how it went down. I'm just telling you what the royal ancestors told me to tell you. Then they say, why do y'all keep living in the past? Why do y'all keep talking about slavery? Nobody's doing those things to you. First of all, you lying. Second of all, until y'all stop making movies about us being slaves, until y'all stop treating us as if we were nothing but slaves, until y'all stop putting it in history class for these kids to learn and grow up learning the same shit of how to be a valuable slave and that you were never nothing but a slave. They're not going to teach you about no royal bloodlines that came before this shit because they don't want you to know that you were ever royal, right? And we know that. Until that shit is not there no more, we're going to continue to talk about it because we are releasing the shackles. We are freeing our bloodlines. We are breaking those generational curses. We are not teaching that to our offspring, period. So that mental enslavement has to be gone. And you mean to tell me somebody that is literally being targeted by the sun is royal here? Somebody that can't even exist in the sun? Like me? Is royal here? Fucking nature don't even like you. Oh, my gosh.
And that is what it is. I approve this message.
My favorite is that white artists who've never been around black people go down two routes, right?
So it's not just white artists, Asian artists do this as well. You could see it in their advertisements when they do blackface because they'll color the palms the same as the back of the hands. And I have my theories as to why they do that besides like not noticing the details. Some people will say they don't do that because it's cost effective to have two-toned hands in animation. I don't really believe that because in the times of racist black caricatures being seen in cartoons, all hand-drawn, usually hand-painted, they made sure to give you the details of the black characters having two-toned hands. So I don't believe in 2020, 2023 that we don't have the technology to track hands to make it easier to give characters two tones. I also believe that the reason why they don't really give black characters two-toned hands is because at that point you know the characters are black and they can't be racially ambiguous. Because many people will make brown characters not be specific of what race they are until after the show. And if you're thinking, well, that seems ridiculous because people who are not black but also not white have two-toned hands. And I feel like this dates back to the racist caricatures. Because darker skinned characters but that aren't necessarily black aren't giving the two-toned hands. They're not giving the indicators that racists gave black people when it came to, like, spotting them as black. And given that America was the biggest known to produce animations, everybody else is just copying what America did. So the indigenous, South Asians, I guess characters that just happen to have a tan, they're not given two tones because that's a specific detail they learned from America that only applies to black characters. To further back this up, the show Velma, Norville is giving two-toned hands, while Velma, nearly the same dark skin as Norville, isn't. And that's because Norville, despite being biracial, he's presented as black, and Velma as South Asian, Indian. And lastly, I think people are just uncomfortable giving black characters, especially if they're not black themselves, two-toned hands because of the association to the black caricatures. Some people, just for the heck of it, may pull out that card to call this artist racist because they give their black characters two-toned colored hands.
I never really thought about it.
You ask me why I only date black women? Because of this very fact. The black woman is the complete woman. When people say the black woman is God, this is what they talking about. The black woman is the only woman on this planet who can birth the entire planet, but the planet cannot birth her. Any other woman on this earth cannot birth a black woman. The black woman is the complete woman. And this is scientifically proven, it's historically proven. The black woman has the Eve gene, the mitochondrial gene that creates every single shade of person, every phenotype, everything. The black woman is the complete woman. This is why I love black women. And this is why the white man be trying to take our women, be sleeping with our women, be trying to impregnate the black woman, because they see and they know that the black woman creates everything. They're incomplete. So now they want their children to have the complete gene. They want their children to come out different than what they are. You know what I'm saying? This is why I protect black women. This is why I love black women. This is why you will never in your fucking life see me with any other woman but a black woman. You know what I'm saying? Because they are the complete woman. And this is proven. This is proven. You can't dispute it. You can go look it up, but it's fucking proven. No other woman on this fucking earth has the mitochondrial, the Eve gene that the black woman has. An Asian cannot produce a black woman. A fucking Neanderthal cannot produce a black woman. A Mexican cannot produce a black woman. You have to have a black man or a black woman present in order for them to produce a black person or a darker skinned person. No other person can do that. Only us. This is why I love black women. No other woman can do this shit. No other woman can do that. And you ask me why I only date black women? Because of this very fact. The black woman is the complete woman. When people say the black woman is God, this is what they talking about. It's the truth. And this is why I go so hard to stop all this integration shit, to get black people back to loving one another, because we are the chosen people. We are. The black woman is that. Why would I want another woman who is incomplete when I was born to be with the black woman? Like that I would never disrespect my genes, my ancestors, my legacy, my lineage, my spiritual self to be with any other woman but the black woman. This is why I go so hard for black love. This is why I go so hard for black unity. When you really sit down and you do research and you understand that the black woman is the complete woman, she has everything, you would want no other woman. You shouldn't want, as a black man, you should not want no other woman but the black woman. Like, she is complete. That is a complete woman. She has everything. She can birth everything. Why would I want any other? Why would I want any other woman? That's fucking crazy. You stupid. You should not want no other woman but the black woman as a black man. I'm talking about black dad, black mom, sub-Saharan ancestry. We are the complete people. They know we stronger together than apart. They want to dilute the races. They want to dilute black people. They want to dilute the genes because they know if black men and black women come together and we keep creating black children, not interracial children, but black children, black man, black woman, that we will continue to further the most powerful genetic line. The black gene is dominant. The black gene is dominant. Black is dominant. Everything else is peasantry. You know what I'm saying? We are dominant. This is why they want us. This is why they try to harvest us. This is why they want the melanin. This is why these whole ass motherfuckers be tanning. You know what I'm saying? This is why they want to date dark. This is why they specifically try to get a dark skinned woman or a dark skinned man. This is why. This is why. Like, do y'all not it's an agenda. It's all an agenda. They understand this shit. A lot of y'all don't. I'm trying to help you out. They was doing this shit for a reason. They wanted the black man to not be attractive to the black woman, so then the black woman don't keep creating these strong genetic black men. That's why. Y'all ain't listening, man. Y'all ain't listening. Y'all ain't conscious. We need to come together. This is exactly what the white man and the Asian and the Arab want. They don't want us together. They know we stronger together than we are apart. They know that. They know that.
And it is scientifically proven. Debate that. Although I didn't so much agree with some of the words he used in this video. Debate that.
You know what's more expensive than gold? It's that melanin our people are voluntarily eradicating. Wake up.
Melanin is more expensive than gold right now per gram. $463 a gram. You see what I'm saying? So look, check this out. So 460, you have 150 trillion cells in your body. Each trillion cells in your body have melanin particles and melanin fragments in it. You are a walking gazillionaire.
God damn.
So look, so now it makes sense why we coming up missing. We're coming up missing and we missing the organs that have most of the melanin in it. You have more melanin in your heart and in your internal organs than you have in your skin, and they are taking it, man. That's why you see we are missing. Where is all the black men going? Have y'all ever Googled the statistics of how many black women get abducted and they never find them a year? Like, y'all should whip out y'all phones and start looking up this stuff, man. It will blow your mind. Start testing what I'm saying. Black women that's coming up missing worldwide. And then they're turning up with their organs missing. Black men turning up missing worldwide. And then when they turning them up, they don't even have their organs.
Oh my God, that makes so much sense. That makes so freaking much sense because they're not going to pay us for our melanin. They're going to steal it. They're going to steal it. Just like they stole this country from the people who were originally here. Yeah, I can see that.
Pleading with you guys, please leave this African spirituality. Please leave it alone.
I find it very interesting when West Africans come online and they say things like this as if they are the voice for African spirituality. Almost as if y'all were not colonized as well. Did you forget that your African ancestors were colonized? You did not inherit Christianity. It was forced on your ancestors through colonization. When missionaries came over to your country, they did not come to empower you. They came to erase. They stripped your ancestors of their sacred practices to replace it with something for control. Now, hundreds of years later, here you are on TikTok telling the world that your ancestral DNA is demonic. That what your great 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 grandmothers used to connect to spirit, what they used for protection, is evil. Don't you find that strange? Why would a colonizer give you a God to liberate you? Let's really think about that. Do you truly believe that they took away your centuries of old spiritual practices to give you something better? The answer is no. They replace your power with control, and the system is still working today. This message is not to shame anyone. It is simply to wake you up because what you're doing is spreading anti black propaganda that started with colonization. You're not against African spirituality because it's evil, you're only against it because you were colonized.
And I don't know why this doesn't make sense to a lot of people. Um, of course, everybody can have their own beliefs, but I don't understand how it doesn't click in the mind that before colonization, way back in the day, we did have religious beliefs and practices. And how dare you be the judge and say that that's demonic? Like, I think a lot of people need to dig a little deeper, do a little bit of research and see. And some of those ways might be the ways of Christianity, like, or include some of the same practices as Christianity. But before you talk trash about somebody else's beliefs because they are not your own, you need to do the research. You need to do the research.
In the 20th century, there was a disease so deadly that even doctors and nurses refused to go near it. Patients were left to die, abandoned in hospital wards, until a group of black nurses stepped up when no one else would. They called them the Black Angels, and their story is one of the greatest acts of courage in medical history. In the early 1900s, tuberculosis was a death sentence, highly contagious with no cure, spreading like wildfire in places like New York City. Hospitals were so desperate that they built entire sanatoriums just to keep infected patients away from the public. Sounds like COVID. One of the worst hit places? Seaview Hospital on Staten Island, a place so infamous that white nurses refused to work there. They were terrified of catching TB, so patients were left to rot, starving, suffocating, and dying alone. And that's when the Black Angels arrived. These were African American nurses, many of them were from the South. They came to New York looking for work, but found themselves in the one place that no one dared to go. They weren't given a choice. They were assigned to Seaview because as black women, they were seen as disposable. But instead of running, they saved lives. For over 20 years, these women risked their own health to treat TB patients. They held their hands, wiped their brows, and gave them dignity when the world had abandoned them. And the craziest part? They weren't even given proper protection. No masks, no gloves, just their bare hands and a sheer will to care for the dying. And their sacrifice? It changed the world. Because guess what? Seaview is where the scientists finally discovered a cure for tuberculosis. The same hospital where people were left to die became the place that saved millions. And it was only possible because of the Black Angels. They refused to let their patients be forgotten. These women were called angels, but make no mistake, they were warriors. They fought disease, racism, and the fear that kept others away. They saved lives and changed history. And yet, where are their statues? Where are their awards? Black women have always been on the front lines of America's battles, whether it's war, injustice, or disease. But somehow their names always get left out of the history books. Not today. Not anymore.
Sometimes it's so hard to hear about how the sacrifices of Black people meant absolutely nothing and sometimes even cause different degrees of maltreatment. I don't know why people like just tell things like the way things were. Like it is what it is. It can be traced back. We can find out what who did what. And that's why they're trying to erase our history now because we are and will always be greater than those wicked people. And I'm saying the wicked ones, I'm not saying everybody, but we will be greater than the wicked people.
Have you ever wondered why dark skinned people have pale palms, pale feet? Well, I'm here to tell you. We'll have to go back hundreds of thousands of years, but first ask yourself what color are chimpanzees, bonobos, and gorillas? Are they black or are they pale? They're pale, their hair's just black. Okay, so we know that a group of organisms that had jet black hair but pale skin branched off from what is now, those apes and slowly became bipedal. When you're hunched over, the sun's intensity is being evenly dispersed all throughout your back. But if you stand up, it's consolidating right here on the top of your head. Also, we didn't just stand up and carry young on our hip, we started walking as well. And then we started running. So when we're exercising a bunch, we need a way to cool ourselves down. A mutation happened and now we have sweat glands and we're able to cool ourselves down far more efficiently that way. This probably was part of the reason we lost so much body hair as well. If we're losing body hair, how are we going to protect ourselves from the hot sun, from the UV rays? More melanin. So our skin is going to deposit a lot of melanin here so we can absorb that sun, get the vitamin D we need from it without our cells being damaged. But do we need that same protection on parts of our bodies that don't see the sun very frequently? No. So that's simply the answer. You walk on the soles of your feet. You pick things up with your hands, and typically it is the back of your hand that will see the sun the most. So there doesn't need to be a mutation that makes your palms and soles darker because it just doesn't need that protection. Oh, almost forgot. Another reason is because melanin deposits differently for different kinds of skin. So there's one kind of skin that is the palms and the soles, and then there's a different kind of skin that is your lips and genitals, and then there's the body skin. So yeah, that's part of it, but I would say most of it is because your palms and feet don't see the sun very much. All right, that's it. I'm done. Hope you guys had fun.
What do you think?
Even China. China don't want to admit that the original people in China that brought forward the dynastic periods of China were black. Japan doesn't want to admit that the original shogun was the priesthood that was brought from Kush. Indians don't want to admit that the Harappa and the Mohenjo-Daro civilizations were formed by Kushites. Koreans don't want to admit that Africans brought Koreans onto the islands of Japan, met another African people known as the Ainu, and created what we today call the Japanese culture. Even in America, they don't want to admit that the original people were the Twa people over 100,000 years ago, coming to this part of the world.
Individuals. Now, guess where all these Asians get all their traits from? A tribe called the Khoisan tribe. Guess where the Khoisan tribe is located at? Guess where, y'all? They are located in Africa. Why we don't hear about them like that? That's a real question, family. I know we laughing and having fun, but we still gotta look at that. We saw CC Kids, Man, Lil Tay, all type of motherfuckers. Meet the Khoisan tribe, y'all. This is the tribe where Asians get all their features from. And as you can see, these are black people. All is being revealed. All is being revealed. These are the Khoisan, one of the oldest lineages on the planet.
That's really interesting. Absolutely interesting. I think that is the sweetest thing I've ever seen.
Shocking DNA discovery. This black man's DNA proves that 99.99% black genes are so unique.
They told us black people came to America in chains, that we were stolen from Africa, stripped of everything and dumped into a new world we didn't belong to. But what if I told you that's the biggest lie ever told? Because one black man's DNA just destroyed that narrative. His name was Albert Perry, and when scientists tested his Y chromosome, they found something terrifying. It was older than every known human being on Earth. Not just African, not just American, not even Neanderthal. His DNA didn't just connect him to the first man. It proved black men were here in America before native tribes, before Columbus, before anyone. And the moment they realized this, they went silent. Because if black men were the first humans and the first Americans, then everything you were taught about history, race, and power is a lie. History isn't written by the truthful. It's written by the powerful. And for centuries, the truth about black people in America, who we were before slavery, before colonization, before the whip and the auction block, was systematically erased. From the moment the first ships docked, white colonizers didn't just steal bodies. They stole stories, cultures, tongues, bloodlines, and they replaced them with a single narrative. You came from nothing. You were brought here like cargo. You have no past, no land, no legacy. But that narrative was never meant to be true. It was meant to control. Because if black people in America ever knew who we really were, if we ever realized we didn't just arrive here in chains, but that we were already here, thriving, ruling, building, the world would never look at us the same again. That's why early scientists avoided studying African American DNA in depth. They studied European lineages, Asian migrations, even Siberian ancestry. But they stayed away from the one group whose blood carried the real story, the one they couldn't afford to explain, African Americans. Because deep down they knew, if they cracked open our chromosomes, they'd find a story that didn't begin on a plantation. They'd find kingdoms, migrations, ancient power. And in 2013, when a team of stunned geneticists ran a test on the DNA of a quiet, ordinary man from South Carolina, they accidentally opened that buried door. And what they saw on the other side, it changed everything. Albert Perry wasn't a scientist. He wasn't a historian. He didn't publish papers, lecture at universities, or make headlines in his lifetime. In fact, Albert Perry lived a quiet life in South Carolina, just one of millions of African Americans whose family history had been shattered by slavery, lost to the records, and swallowed by time. But what Albert didn't know, what no one knew, was that he was carrying a secret in his blood, a code older than civilization itself. After his death, one of his relatives submitted his DNA to a commercial ancestry company. It was supposed to be routine, just another family tree search like so many others. But what scientists discovered in Albert Perry's Y chromosome, the strand of DNA passed down directly from father to son, left them speechless. It didn't match any known lineage in modern humans, not European, not Asian, not even African lineages previously recorded. In fact, it didn't match anything. Albert Perry's Y chromosome was so ancient, so genetically distinct, that it predated the oldest known Y chromosome ever found in a human being. We're not talking hundreds of years, or thousands. We're talking over 338,000 years old. Let that sink in. This man's paternal lineage was walking the earth before the first modern humans even appeared in East Africa, before the migration out of Africa, before Homo sapiens were fully formed. This meant only one thing. Albert Perry's Y chromosome came from a lineage that branched off long before anyone ever thought possible. A lineage that may have never left Africa, or worse, one that left Africa and came to America first. It shattered the timeline. It broke the tree of human ancestry. And suddenly, the idea that African Americans were just descendants of enslaved Africans collapsed. Because if Albert Perry's Y chromosome wasn't just African, but older than humanity itself, then the African American story isn't just about bondage, it's about origin. Albert Perry became the glitch in the matrix of Western science, the walking proof that the story of man didn't start in caves in Europe. It started in blackness. It started in us, and the world hasn't been the same since. The Y chromosome is a special kind of story. It's passed down, unchanged, from father to son for generations, like a genetic scroll etched in blood that never forgets. And Albert Perry's scroll told a story no one was ready to hear. When researchers at a commercial DNA lab ran his sample, alarms went off. His Y chromosome didn't align with anything in their global databases. It didn't match known African haplogroups. It didn't align with the widely accepted migration out of Africa. It didn't even show signs of the common mutations found in ancient human DNA. It was alien. It turned out that Albert Perry carried a Y chromosomal lineage that was over 338,000 years old. That's older than the oldest anatomically modern human fossils ever found. Think about that. His DNA is so ancient, it predates Homo sapiens. It predates Neanderthals. It predates everything we've been taught in biology class. According to mainstream science, the Y chromosome of modern humans should trace back to a common ancestor who lived around 200,000 years ago, often called Y chromosomal Adam. But Perry's DNA shattered that narrative, because his Y chromosome wasn't a branch from the tree of modern humans. It was a separate tree entirely, a tree so old it suggested that the human story was either far older than we thought, or that another previously unknown lineage had existed right alongside us, a forgotten branch of the human family. Now here's where it gets even more explosive. When scientists compared Perry's Y DNA markers with other ancient samples, some found in isolated tribes of Africa, some from early human remains in the Americas, they found fragments of similarity. In certain Native American burial sites, especially in parts of South Carolina, Georgia, and Mexico, researchers have found ancient remains with genetic signatures that mirror rare African lineages. Could it be a coincidence? Or could Albert Perry's ancient DNA be a living link to an erased population, one that existed in both Africa and the Americas long before the textbooks say people crossed the Bering Strait? That's when the whispers started. If Perry's chromosome predated the so-called first Americans, and if his DNA resembled markers found in ancient American bones, then someone had to ask, were black people the first Americans too? Not migrants, not slaves, but originators. And that single possibility was enough to shake the foundation of anthropology, archaeology, and everything we thought we knew about the peopling of the Americas. So what did they do? They buried it in obscure journals. They called it an anomaly. They labeled it an outlier. But it's not an outlier when it happens again, and again, and again. Albert Perry wasn't the glitch. He was the key. Albert Perry's Y chromosome didn't just whisper from the past, it screamed. Because when you line up his ancient paternal DNA with historical records, oral traditions, and archaeological findings across the Americas, a haunting truth begins to take shape. Black people weren't just in America before Columbus. They were here before the so-called Native Americans we see in textbooks, before the Bering Strait, before history began being edited. And the proof? It's everywhere, if you know where to look. Let's start with the Olmecs. Mainstream historians say the Olmec civilization in Mexico is one of the oldest in the Americas, known for its colossal stone heads with thick lips, wide noses, and unmistakably African features. For decades, scholars have tried to dismiss it as is stylistic. But what if those statues were not art? What if they were portraits? Portraits of the black indigenous rulers.
They don't want to know that because that would make them not feel like they are superior to us, that this country belongs to them. Yeah, y'all know how it is. That was a very interesting story, and I am glad to have found that to look at.
Black people have the greatest genetic potential to produce the black pigment melanin, which gives off skin color. And since we have the greatest, the highest level of genetically determined ability to produce this pigment that can cause white genetic annihilation, and it's only males who can impose sexual intercourse. And so the focus consciously, subconsciously has to zero in on the males. This is why I say that understanding, I'm not talking about institutional racism. I'm talking about a total system construct that develops out of certain patterns of thinking on the part of people who classify themselves as white.
And again, there we go. And that's a wrap. Thank you for watching the video today. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.